Happy New Year everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is a great year. This is the first video I'm shooting this year, so I'm really excited. Now we're going to talk about fermented porridge. I had promised one of my clients, because she purchased fermented porridge biscuits from me, and we were talking, and she did not go through the processes the right way. I think she didn't ask in advance, and I also can't blame her because I didn't give her the info, and I just felt that I need to do a video to explain how this porridge is made and the processes and everything. First of all, we'll go back to the reason why, the benefits of eating fermented foods. And I'm going to read that down because I noted them down. Sorry, I have to bend and just read. Fermented foods are rich in probiotic bacteria. So by consuming fermented foods, you are adding beneficial bacteria and enzymes to your overall intestinal flora, increasing the health of your gut and digestive system, enhancing your immune system. Now, fermented foods have got that probiotic bacteria. That is a good bacteria that is needed for the stomach. I don't know if you notice, like sometimes when somebody has a runny stomach and they're told they have to take yogurt, natural yogurt, or fermented milk, that probiotic bacteria is very good for your gut health that is involved with digestion. Now, as you realize that in our olden days, when our grandparents used to cook porridge, mostly the porridge was fermented. And we in Kienyeji'S, we are taking you back to that, because yes, we do buy flour and we are told that it is fermented, but you see, that's flour. We are not really sure. But now what we've done is we are taking you through, we do take that flour through a process, a fermentation process, which we assure that the porridge is, the flour is fermented, it's well fermented, and then we put them in special molds and then we sun dry. It doesn't lose the taste of the fermentation. So you can actually enjoy your cup of fermented porridge, which is in form of biscuits. I'll show you the container. I hope that's clear. That's the container with fermented porridge biscuits. Actually, we do put them in special molds, then we sun dry. But then now, why I call them biscuits, sometimes you might think they're ready to eat. No, they're not ready to eat. They're not ready to eat, and you have to take this through a process. That drying process is just to help retain that fermentation, and you can still enjoy your fermented porridge, which you are guaranteed of. And this flour that we are using for this porridge is actually, I read that down. I wrote that down, so I have to read through my notes. It's actually pearl millet, sorghum, and finger millet. Sorry, let me just come again. Let me not confuse you. It's got finger millet. Finger millet, you know how it looks. It's a brown one. Then the pearl millet is whitish in color. And then there's the sorghum, you know how sorghum looks. And then cassava. Cassava is actually what helps to bind this flour when you're drying, so that it gets hard. It gets hard. And then we actually just mix it with water, and then we ferment it for like a week. And after a week, when it's well fermented, that's when we put them in special molds, and then we sun dry. And the day we are sun drying, we have to make sure we have enough sun and we have space, and it's free from any dirt, free from any interference. So that means that when these biscuits are fermenting, they're drying, we actually have got to be there. Somebody has to sit there and just wait until they dry. Can you imagine that? It's interesting. Anyway, I don't know how our grandparents used to manage that, but anyway, somehow we are in the city and we are trying to manage to do that. It's a bit of a challenge for us, but at the end of the day, that is our passion, to provide you with forgotten foods. So I will take you through the processes. It's a very short process. Actually, I won't waste a lot of your time. It's a very short process from the beginning to the end, how you're supposed to take care of that porridge, how you're supposed to produce that porridge, or prep your porridge, or produce your porridge. Food production, actually, it's a food production. So welcome. I'm going to do a voiceover because I've done several videos. So what I'm going to do a voiceover on the videos, several short videos that I've done. I'll do voiceover so that I can explain in details, then you can get to understand. Thank you and welcome. So now, with the pack of your porridge biscuits, the fermented porridge biscuits, you need to have a whisk, you need to have some water and an empty container, which you'll use to soak them. So you open it, and then you take your biscuits, which are in hard form, they are in solid form, and drop them into that container. And then once you've dropped them into that container, what we are going to do next is to add in a little water. This water is supposed to help to soak them so that we can get them back into liquid form. So you add in the water to soak. You can soak at whichever duration of time that you want it. It all depends on you. But for this video, I had to do it shorter because I need to move with time. So have them soaked. As you can see, there are bubbles coming out. That just tells you that the water is seeping into the biscuits. And so when the water seeps in, there's that bubble effect. And besides that, this is fermented. So during fermentation process, this flour actually, it actually breathes. And you can tell by the bubbles that come out of that. It's like it's alive, it has a life. That is part of the chemistry of the fermentation process, the bubbles. So as you can see, those are bubbles that are coming through the biscuits. I think they've soaked a little, so we can just whisk them together. Whisk them vigorously. If you soak longer, then you don't have to whisk that much. That's why cooking stick would still just work perfect. Cooking stick will still work perfect. So you whisk them thoroughly and vigorously to mix them together to get it back into the liquid state to a thick consistency, checking if there are any bubbles, any lumps. We do not want that when you're cooking the porridge, because when you do that and put it into the hot water, it actually forms lumps, which is not good. My son calls it uji balls, actually, uji balls. Some people don't like that. They can't swallow that. Me too, I don't like that. So I need to get it into a smooth consistency. So I don't think I like that consistency, so I have to add a little. So open the container again and get a few more to add in, and whisk a little bit more so that I can just get it right before I pour it into my boiling water. Make sure the container is airtight. That I'll just whisk directly. I think it will just be perfect. It will be perfect because that vigorous effect actually breaks the biscuits faster with the water. I mean, it will break it faster. You can even blend it if you can. I mean, I think it can work still. I've not tried it, but I know it can work. So the reason why I'm turning this container on the sides is just to be sure that I don't have any lumps left, or just to be sure that all the biscuits have soaked in properly and I'm getting a good consistency before I start cooking. So it's that pretty simple, the first stage. You can take a longer time than what I've just done, but you'll still be good. I mean, you'll still be good. My next stage, with my hot boiling water, I'll add in the mixture of the fermented porridge biscuits with water. I'll add in to that so that I can get the porridge cooking. So you keep stirring using a cooking stick or a mwiko, call it a mwiko. You stir it through, and as you're stirring in, you're checking the consistency so that you get it right. Some people like a light consistency of porridge, others like a thick one or a heavy one. I personally like a medium consistency. It's easier to drink. That's my own preference. I mean, you can make it to your own preference. So as I keep mixing, you keep mixing until it starts boiling. When it reaches that boiling point, it just means that the flour and the water has mixed properly, and so it's getting to that thick consistency, and then you can leave it to boil. So this is now boiling, but from the look of the consistency, it's too light. It's too light, so I have to at some point add in. At some point I have to add in a little more. Yes, add in a little more and keep stirring. How long should you cook your porridge? At least maximum 10 minutes, I think. You should be able to have good porridge. So if you want it more cooked, you can increase to 15 minutes according to your liking. But you can easily tell when it's boiling. You see the white foam on top. Once it disappears and you don't see any foam on top, just means that the porridge is well cooked. So that is usually one of the tricks to tell whether porridge is cooked. So I'm adding in just water to blend in and reduce the thick, heavy consistency so that I have a medium consistency. As I told you, I like it when it's in a medium consistency, but you can make it based on your preference. So it's still fine. We all have different tastes and preferences for everything. So keep it boiling and adding in a little water to just get the consistency right. Once you finish, you just let your porridge boil for like 10 to 15 minutes. You're done. You're good. Our porridge has reached that good boiling point whereby you can't see any foam on top. So this just means that it is well cooked. So this has cooked for like I think 10 minutes. You can increase to 15 if you want, but personally, once I don't see the foam on top, that just tells me that my porridge is good. It's ready. It's ready for consumption. It's well blended, boiling quite well. It won't taste raw, so you just keep stirring through, because sometimes it can boil and start spluttering all over the place. So it is pretty simple, as you have seen, and so it's not a complicated process. I've given you the trick of knowing how to tell when porridge is well cooked, so that should be easy. On to the final stage right now. Now it is the service of the porridge, and as usual, I'm taking you back to forgotten foods, forgotten ways of service. Porridge usually used to be served in a calabash, and the banana ring is just to secure the calabash at the bottom so that it's stable. So you can either use a cup. I'm not putting pressure on you, but I just wanted to show you like how the porridge is actually served the traditional way. That's how it should be. Now, welcome back. I hope the processes are clear and it's easy now. It makes sense. Now, some few pointers that I must just note. When you purchase this, it's actually in an airtight container, free from moisture. So do not transfer. Kindly keep it in this container. Keep these porridge biscuits in this container because it's already airtight. As long as you make sure it is well clipped to the edges, there's no moisture getting inside, you're good. You don't need to transfer, because when moisture gets into this, what happens is it starts growing mold. And already they are very well dried. And so once the moisture gets in, they'll start growing that mold. And some people can't stand mold. Others are okay with it. Personally, I don't have a problem with the mold, as long as it's not, because I'm going to take through the porridge through boiling process. So I'm not worried about the mold. It's not going to affect my stomach. I don't know if I have a friend called Susan Ture. She's very good with this fermented stuff and all that kind of stuff. Susan, I hope you're watching this video. One time when you come back home, we will definitely have to do a video together with you so that you can explain to us a bit about these fermentation processes, because I know you're very good at that and you understand all this. So the mold should not be a problem as such, because it's not going to affect you. You just boil your porridge nicely and you enjoy. But then now make sure that you keep your container airtight so that it doesn't affect the biscuits. So that is it. Make sure your container is airtight. Do not transfer. Do not transfer once you purchase this. Do not transfer. Keep it in this. It's already airtight. It is fine and you're good. And when you open it to dissolve your biscuits, Kindly do not keep it open for too long. We don't want moisture getting in here because these are very dry, and once the moisture gets in, I've already explained what happens. So now I am enjoying my porridge. This is a calabash. You can either serve it in a calabash or you can serve it in a cup. You remember, like in the olden days, you know what this is. This is made from banana fibers, and it actually helps to secure the calabash, to hold it, actually to hold it. So our grandparents used to enjoy taking porridge in this. We also used to do that when we were young. You know, it's very interesting. This concept is very interesting because, you know, when I was growing up, I never knew that at some point I would ever be passionate about these kind of things. And yet, when I was still a child, if anyone would ever have told me that take porridge through a calabash, take this, take that, we used to find it like, oh, yuck, weird. But then now, as you age, you start realizing that these foods were actually very beneficial to our health. And we have forgotten them. So we've got to come back to go back to our roots. So that is why in Kienyeji'S we are trying to introduce as much as we can, whatever it is that is not consumed much, we are trying to bring it back so that we can remind you, and we are also offering that convenience for you so that you don't have to suffer and wonder, where will I get this, where will I get that? We already have a solution for you. So that is what we are about. So thank you very much. I think I'll continue enjoying my porridge. You can have your porridge either in the morning or late evening. It's very good. It's very beneficial to your health. It's got a lot of nutrients in it. You know what sorghum does. You know what millet does to your system. It's got a bit of protein. It's got all the essential vitamins. It's got the carbohydrates that you need in your system. So it's actually a perfect meal for you. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you again next time when we do the next tutorial. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's going to be a surprise for you. And I wish you a great year ahead. See you next time. Bye-bye.